Good evening, Mask enjoyers. I heard you alright, 'cause it's time for the predictions video. Yes, earlier today we got an interesting batch of skins for the May 22, 2025 Rust Store, and in this video we need to go ahead and try and figure out of all these skins, which of them are potentially the best investments for this week, which of these skins might help us walk away with some sweet, delicious looking profit. So sit back, relax, I'm going to start yapping. So yeah, it was a pretty hefty looking Rust Store, but it wasn't a complete the sets, was it? No. So yeah, based on, patterns with the previous years, it looked like we were going to have one. I was hoping, but looks like it was just a massive cope. Yeah, I mean, it's still next week. Coping again. At the end of the day, with what we have here, there's still a lot of collection continuations. There's some interesting skins for sure. Oh, yeah. But I don't think we'll be having to complete the sets then. I would like to be surprised next week, but I don't think so. So I guess we'll just leave it at that. Right then, looking at all these skins, which of them are potentially going to be a very interesting skin to consider investing into? I'm going to have to talk about the MP5. I have to. I know it's going to sell pretty absurdly. The momentum with Heat Seeker skins is ridiculous, but it's Heat Seeker summer. In the position that it's currently in, after what just happened to the SAR, if I could just quickly point out to you, which almost did 39,000 subscribers, which, if you need some context, that's pretty crazy. But the main thing about that was that it took about 3 days. Then a TikTok video was made. Suddenly everybody cared about the transparency in the AIM site, or rather, they only just found out. And now, yeah, the sales just... So when you look at this now, you could actually consider and say, you know what? At the very beginning, people are fully well aware that that has transparent AIM site. They are fully well aware now. And, yeah. You see the transparency on this MP5? It is the absolute best we've ever seen. Well, in terms of like total amount of transparency. If you're gonna, if you're gonna critique like potentially the style, the design, I mean, it's still very good. FaZe is a very, very good artist. But what I've done in my Rust rotation video, I compared this with the Cybercore MP5 and the Oil Rets and Rickel Twitch drop. The big green one. Well, I did a comparison, and yeah, the transparency on this is just absolutely ridiculous. Nothing compares to it. Now, we should point out that with Mr. Vase succeeding getting this accepted, we cannot rule out the possibility that, well, if he was allowed to do it, surely every other skin creator is allowed to do that as well, right? So just be aware, other skin creators will probably make their own MP5s. They'll probably do just as much transparency. Do you reckon we could see another skin like this being accepted anytime soon? I will say I would doubt it, but let's not rule out the possibility. However, the momentum behind the Heat Seeker skins is like, there's nothing that compares to it at the moment. That's going to do a lot of sales, and yet I still can't help but assume it's going to be held up quite nicely with all the support. Now, if we could just quickly take a look at the SAR, I'm not sure if you're fully well aware, but even though this has sold an absurd amount, the price, look at the prices. This just keeps getting bought out. So, just to point this out, we had abnormal barders last night, of course, and all of them got bought out when we saw the MP5 being accepted today. This went up to $9, but once we rolled over past 1 o'clock in the morning, the next batch of people who could then list theirs, they listed theirs, and this went from $9 to about $6. Well, they got bought out again, it's back up to 9. Now you see this guy here, he's like, oh, go on then, try. But this is a perfect example of, this has sold a lot, there's going to be a lot of people trying to get a quick flip profit, right? A lot of people see, quick $1 profit, I'll take it. There's loads of people that will do that. So every day that passes, more and more people will be able to list theirs. That's going to lead to that going down in price. These barges you see here, they're not going to last, right? So with what we see here is a warning to what we could potentially see happen to that. However, if we see another Heat Seeker skin being accepted next week, I would happen to know, I do believe another one will be appearing over the course of this weekend. So keep an eye on Mr. Vase's workshop, and you might just happen to see the newer skin. What's it going to be? We'll see. Right, so if we do see another one next week, well, that's probably just instantly going to get bought out like the SAR. So be wary, but don't be surprised. So I will sit and say there's likely going to still be some big problems, especially as we approach the end of the summer. Typically, during the summer, kids are out of school, plenty of time to play Rust, loads more people playing Rust. Not too hard to comprehend. But when they go back to school, so September, October, November, that period of time, autumn, fall season, we tend to have quite a dip in player count, and of course the prices follow. I'm worried about what will happen to the Heat Seeker skins around this period of time, but we still have the summer to go through, plenty of time to enjoy, and I can't help but assume Heat Seeker Summer is just going to keep on getting more and more skins accepted, and the whole collection's just going to get tons and tons of hype, right? So, okay, cool, that's nice to know, I guess. But that's abnormal. Listen, you don't need to rush into, making an investment. You can wait until, of course, next Wednesday night rolling into Thursday morning. If you don't fully understand, consider going to my YouTube. You'll see my most recent Abnormal Barders video right here. Basically, watch the first 5 minutes of this video, then scroll down, skip ahead to the Barders chapter that you see there, and you'll essentially understand everything. Abnormal skins become marketable before the roster even rotates, and we can use that to our advantage. We could put some Barders down, look at the support, after it, and support being the amount of Barders it has, how high the price goes with the Barders, and you'd feel a lot more confident if a skin has some really good amounts of buy orders going all the way up to the Rustore price, right? Well, that's what happened to the SAR last night and the Armoured Double Door. I bought a whole bunch of the Armoured Double Doors, and I bought a reasonable amount of the SARs because I was still questioning the amount that sold. But, with the MP5 being accepted literally the very next Rustore, lo and behold, yeah, SAR's gone pretty insane, so cool. Right then, so with all these other skins here, what's also looking to be a viable investment? And, well, I'm going to have to talk about Tiger Tier 3. So by default, with it being, a core piece, Tier 3, well, we're going to, anticipate potentially Tier 2 and boots and gloves. And lo and behold, what have we seen being submitted very recently? Oh look, boots and gloves. So just to get the point across, we have seen hoodie and pants being made, and then they're accepted. But during the week that they're accepted, we had already seen the Tier 3 being submitted. So now that's been accepted, and, well, during the week that this has been accepted, we've seen this being submitted. So, do you reckon we might follow that and potentially see that being accepted next week? We'll see. And then, of course, eventually Tier 2. Now, I know a lot of people also didn't really care for the orange tiger design. It doesn't matter. With this arriving today, have you seen the price of the hoodie and pants in the Steam market? It sold a respectable amount, and now apparently at $6. What? Well, there you go. Okay, it's not $6, but it's still much better than what it sold for. That was 99 cents last week. Now, the lowest listing is 4 times the price. Is it actually selling at that price, though? That's a bit questionable. Is it going to stay at that price? That's also a bit questionable. However, it's got that hype, and that's doing very nicely, and the Barders are doing very good well. So that's basically, essentially, with the Barders, doubled in price, okay? So it doesn't matter. I know a lot of people really didn't care for it, but if you actually looked at it and realised, that's probably got a very good chance of getting a continuation, well, you should have made a move. So, with what I'm seeing here, could very likely happen again, because boots and gloves have been submitted. Now we anticipate that potential acceptance. And if we keep an eye on the workshop over the course of the weekend, you might see some Tier 2, maybe a jacket, maybe a weapon, who knows, but more skins are to be expected. So, okay, cool, that's nice. That's looking pretty good. And then, with the next skins I want to talk about, Deep Ruby Tier 2. Because that is the very first set of clothing and armour in this collection. I can't help but anticipate Tier 3, hoodie and pants, boots and gloves. With what we just saw happen with this collection, can easily happen with this collection as well. Now, as you can see, well, it's mainly weapons and tools, but I can't help but assume with the success of this that, Mr. Wynett will probably immediately jump on to making some hoodie and pants, some Tier 3. Now, it might be a bit questionable. Do you want to dress up as, all bright purple and shiny? Would it be an eggplant? Well, the choice is up to you, but it doesn't matter, because, a lot of people were very frustrated to see the Tiger hoodie and pants last week. It got the continuation, it still spiked in price. So this right here, keep an eye on the workshop, because we very likely might be seeing more stuff being made for it, but the main thing we care about is hoodie and pants, Tier 3, or boots and gloves. If any of that gets accepted literally next Rustore, or, some point in the near future, that will be spiking demand, spiking in price. Yep, so by default, I have to mention it now, so okay, we'll see what gets produced next. We'll see if we see more acceptances. So looking at the remaining skins now, I want to talk about the SAP. I know we've had 3 weeks in a row of SAP skins, but it's another green SAP, and SAPs just tend to be reliable, instantly. Don't assume they ever go up in price to a ridiculous price, but they will always usually be a very stable option to consider investing into. Look at all the SAPs from the previous year. That's looking good. Look at all the SAPs from the year before that. Now you might bring up these 2 skins. They're only down in price slightly, and they're not very appealing in terms of design. All intentional, based on the design of what they were, but point made, it's very stable. You don't see anything down ridiculously down. This is down a fair bit. Again, very rusted and not very appealing. Again, that was intentional. So, So yeah, I've said this for like the past 3 weeks. I'm sure you get the point now. SAPs are reliable. Croco SAP, you are a continuation of the recent double barrel shotgun, which you'll see just over to here. And I can't help but assume we're going to get like a set of dark green weapons from Little Ranger and Graham Crowan. So okay, cool. That's a nice thing to keep an eye out for. Now, all these skins now, what am I looking at? I think I want to talk about the SAR. Popstar collection is interesting. It's got the anime girl design, and typically when another skin is accepted, the AK kind of like bumps up a bit. The Thompson came out during a period of time which, when it was listed, it was that period of time where you couldn't actually list any skins, and the only way in which you could sell it, make a sale, was to sell to the highest buy order, and a lot of people did that, and it kind of ruined the barter support it had. Now it's not down too bad, but give it some time. I'm sure that'll recover, and I'm sure this will recover as well. Only being down by 15% is like really good for an AK. I know that sounds very silly, but honestly, go take a look at most of them. They're not down by like 15%. They're mostly down by 50% and more. Big difference. So honestly, this SAR, if it ends up doing a reasonable amount of sales, especially like in comparison to the AK, for example, or less, because considering loads of people bought a SAR last week, if it does respectable and reasonable sales, and we do constantly see some more Popstar skins being produced and accepted in the near future, honestly, that is looking viable. It's also abnormal, so, you could wait, do the abnormal barters first, then make considerations afterwards, but it is looking interesting. Better than the standard SAR, I'd say. Looking at the remaining skins, I think now I will talk about the rocket launcher. So, by default, rocket launchers, we don't get that many, especially based on what we used to see, but we had a recent one. I'm going to sit here and say, due to sheer lack of skins being accepted, it doesn't necessarily mean that Black Ops rocket launcher is going to be A-OK. This Choco launcher we had somewhat recently appearing, like that's already down by half its price. Like before, we saw so many of these rocket launchers in the positive, mainly due to the fact that we just didn't see that many being accepted. So, Black Ops, is it a flourishing collection? To be honest with you, it's looking like it's got a few problems. It was doing very well when we were seeing like the SAR being accepted, and then we got the revolver fairly, a short while after that. But then it's kind of stagnated for a while. But now we see another skin being accepted. It's nice to see. But where's like the SAP and the Thompson and the custom SMG? Facepunch just didn't want to accept them. I don't know. But yeah, if we probably see like some clothing and armor and whatnot, maybe that might help it out. All right, we'll keep an eye out for the likes of that. We'll see what happens next. But that right there, the rocket launcher, $2.49. I'm having doubts it's going to retain that price. I don't imagine it'll go all the way down to like nothing. I don't think it'll go down to $1, but I could see that doing a little bit okay. Just I don't expect it to retain all of its price. Yeah, so okay. It's a bit iffy. Next, I want to talk about B-Box. So this is a continuation to the Sheepman Adore. However, this B-Box, whilst has transparency, it doesn't have glow-in-the-dark like the Sheepman Adore. Now, this is a bit strange because the skin creator, he did try to get other doors accepted and whatnot. He was putting out options. Sheepman Adore door, wooden door, none of them are accepted. I don't know. Okay, well, it is what it is, but now we got a box. What about a large box, perhaps? Okay, maybe that might work out quite nicely. But all it is a transparent design. Yes, it's in the colour of a bee. Okay, cool. But then look at all these, skins here. That's a lamb, down 15%. That's a pie, down 15%. Small boxes, they are fairly unreliable as investments. They might not go down to ridiculously low prices, but you can't rule out the possibility. Anyway, main point to talk about. I would like to see more of this collection getting accepted. It's just the skin creator, it just doesn't seem to have that much luck. So if this ends up being a collection that only consists of 2 skins, I don't think that'll be doing super great. I'd question it quite a fair bit. Nothing wrong with the design and what's made it, how it's made and whatnot. Looks totally fine. Looks cool. It's just I don't know what's going on. Facepunch being iffy, and it's just if they're going to be like that, I don't think I can fully trust the small box working out quite nicely. It'll very likely just be sticking with a lower price buy order. Right, and that leaves us with talking about the garage door. I know you want me to talk about that, but there's a reason I'm leaving it for last. The garage door looks very nice. It looks very cool. And by all means, if you think you like it, go ahead, buy it. Use it, appreciate it, and support the skin creator. But we're now in a position where we have seen a garage door every single week for this month. And so far this month, we have had 7 garage doors given to us. That's starting to become a problem. And I'm going to have to make a video specifically talking about this because garage doors weren't like a thing that's been around forever. It was like introduced, back in like 2018, 2019? We have got ridiculous amounts and we keep seeing more and more and more and more and more. And like, as I've already said, it's starting to develop into a problem. If we keep seeing far too many of them being given to us or offered to us, it's harder for them to maintain interest and they lose value pretty quickly. Now, last year we got a record-breaking amount, that was 34. We're not even halfway through this year yet, and yet we've already got 18. We are on track to beat last year's amount. And look at all the skins so far this year. Oh, down 53, down 48, down 57, down 50, down 62. That doesn't look good. So, by all means, I think that's a very cool looking skin. And again, consider watching my rust rotation video. You'll get a good look at it. Glows in the dark very nicely. It's a lovely looking design. And I am aware that we might potentially see some more of the skins potentially being accepted. There's the large box. Looking very nice. Looking very cool. And it glows in the dark. But it's a garage door and I just can't help but assume it's going to go down in price like all the other ones. Sorry to say, but it's not looking very reliable. And I might just stick with doing a buy order, because I wouldn't be surprised if it goes below its rust store price. And now for last. I don't know what to think, because we've never had a spinning wheel skin before. Sorry, but I actually have no clue how we're going to go about this. I'm going to ask you this. If you think it looks funny and it looks cool, by all means, buy one for yourself. But if you're looking at this and questioning, do I actually need it? No, not really. No, not really, no. I'm being brutally honest with you. You don't really need it. Now, will we ever see another spinning wheel skin being accepted in another rust store? I would highly doubt it. Could we see Twitch drops? I could consider that likely happening. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Okay, right, well, it's a dartboard though. It looked awesome in my base. That's what I'm saying. If you like it, go ahead, buy it, use it, appreciate it and whatnot. But like, you can throw spears at it. I actually found that out. Again, consider watching my rust rotation video. But maybe one day we'll be able to actually throw darts with our hands rather than using the blowpipe. But I just don't really think it's going to retain its price. Or maybe due to the fact that it's literally the only one, it then ends up by default working out quite nicely. But that might not happen for a while. So for everyone who's buying one at the moment, I sure hope they're actually buying it because they want to use it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a pure novelty sort of activity. There's another thing I should point out. Because you've got all the numbers on there, odds and evens, you can spin it round constantly and you can wager whether it's going to be odds or evens. Just saying. So, okay. Maybe people could make their own little bandit camp in their little base compound or something like that. It's definitely a fun idea to consider. And by the way, you can still draw on that, by the way. So, okay. I don't know. What's your opinions? Do you like it? Do you think there's going to be a demand for it? Do you honestly believe there'll be another skin ever being produced that'll get accepted? Because Igor, skin creator here, he's been the man behind the likes of the Desert Raiders and the Forest Raiders, along with there have been other spinning wheel skins. It's just none of them were made by people who are frequently in top picks lists and frequently getting skins accepted. It took until now for someone like that to step up, and they immediately got their skin accepted. Maybe other skin creators have taken note and thought, you know what, I can make a pizza, or a quiche, or a football or something. You get the idea. We might see more. We'll see what happens next, but I don't fully trust it. It's also not abnormal, so we literally have to wait until the next rust store rotates, and then we can make a move with the buy orders. Very well then, so now you understand why I'm hesitant to consider how to approach it, and you can see why I left it for last. Cool. Alright then. So, what things can we talk about now that we've talked about all the skins? Well, I should talk about some interesting developments. Why'd you say it in such a weird way? This. I'm sure you've seen this on Twitter now, or someone's told you, but there's going to be a Warhammer 40k collaboration with Rust. And if you go to the actual website that it provides, it quite literally points out that we're going to be getting some sort of special cosmetic weapons, some sort of special armor of some sorts, something that can help decorate the bases and whatnot that we have in Rust. Either way, based on it saying that it's likely going to be, well, it is going to be in reference to Death Corps of Krieg. Apparently it's going to be something like this, and that just screams hazmat suit, doesn't it? Yeah. What weapons though? Maybe the club and the gun there. I don't fully know. If you are more informed of this, feel free to offer your own opinions. Comment below. But okay, cool. Why can't we have the Ultramarine? Why can't we have the Space Marine? You know, just make it heavy armor. It'll work, right? That'll be $20. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But looks like maybe we could keep an eye out for more collaborations in the future. Again, nobody saw this coming. This came out of nowhere. But it's definitely intriguing. But it's just gonna be another DLC pack. Yeah. So okay, cool. What else is there to talk about? Twitch drops, Spanish Twitch drops. BELLUM 3 will be taking place at the end of June, rolling into July. So if I could just quickly look at this tweet over to here from M2CG. Let me translate that. There you go. So again, it is June 25 to July 2nd. That is when all these skins will be dropping. You'll have plenty of time to get them. And that right there, I believe, is a generic drop. That is an M249 that's made of pure gold. So that's looking pretty. Okay, cool. So that's a nice skin there. Thank you, Mr. M2CG. Now, I can also point out that there are some other Twitch drops that we've noticed. So if we go over to here, from Mr. Corolla, if you've seen his other Twitch drops, he had the Viking garage door and the Yomaganda furnace from last year, if you can remember. He's getting another Viking theme skin, and that looks cool. No texture at the moment, but you can see what they're currently cooking. And then over to here, you can see some other designs, the runic Viking designs and whatnot. That looks awesome. And that'll be another AK Twitch drop. I hope you look forward to it. But that looks cool at least. And that'll be given away for free. So come on now. How can you complain? Now, in reference to what I was talking about earlier, we're going to get another MP5 Twitch drop. And lo and behold, transparent aim sight. This still has the side flaps though, so it's not as special compared to the Heat Seeker. But maybe some people would rather not spend any money and just use that for free. You can comment below if you want. We also happen to have the Recoy double barrel shotgun that's ever so nice and golden. Yep, so cool. There will be some more skins being revealed, but as of now, that has been publicly pointed out. Actually, I'm not sure if the MP5 is. That's why I'm only showing it like thumbnail version there and just pointing out the aim sight. Those are the most important details, especially in reference to the recent MP5 we had. So I'm not sure if that's actually been publicly revealed yet. Sorry if it isn't. Now, commits. I should point out that Mr. Protox here has been showcasing the wallpapers that you can put on the floor and the ceiling and whatnot. There's also a video they've made here. Consider taking a good look at their Twitter and you'll be up to date with all the newest things that are appearing on staging. Very nice and insightful. Yes, yes, yes. All right, cool. But of course, you can always keep an eye on the commits yourself. So if I could just quickly go over to here. And of course, here we are, commits. Don't forget, it's always linked in the description. You'll see that here we are, the mentions of things that are going on with the floor wallpapers, and you should be keeping an eye out for the next big update, which appears to be the naval update. We're going to be able to make our own boats. We're going to be able to make like sailboats and whatnot. Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sorry. But yes, that's currently being worked on. A trawler grey box. Interesting. Different types of boats that we can ride around in. That's sounding pretty interesting. But this appears to be the next big update. That might not be finished for another few months. Several months. The jungle update took almost a year. We learned about it like in the summer of last year. And we just kept keeping an eye out, keeping an eye out. And then eventually we started to figure out that it's going to be a big update that was going to appear in 2025. So, cool. Understood. So that is looking pretty sweet, and we're getting a brand new monument, Floating Cities. Now, I'm not sure if that's just one, because floating cities would imply more than one. So is it going to be like oil rig, where we have a couple of them sprinkled around in the ocean? Dunno. It's all fantasy speaking right now, so what would you fantasize about? What could you think of? Feel free to comment below, because I have no idea. But if you keep up to date, if you keep an eye on the commits and whatnot, you're probably able to build up a solid thought of what it's going to be, and yeah, okay. So again, it's nice and insightful. Keep an eye on the commits. So overall, yeah, it wasn't exactly what we were expecting in terms of we kind of wanted to complete the sets, but it's still an interesting restaurant. There's still lots of potential here. I wonder how much that's going to sell. That's definitely looking like it's going to be going a little bit reckless, a little bit excessive. And there will be a lot of people looking at that with the pure intent to buy it and sell it for a quick flip profit. But if there's too many people doing that, that'll lead to far too many of them being on the Steam market and third-party sites. So you've been warned. If you're thinking about making an investment, you really should consider doing the abnormal barters first. Cool. So if I could just quickly go back over to here, one final extra thing to bring up to you. If you want to stay up to date with all the newer skins that have been submitted to the workshop, feel free to go ahead and keep an eye out for my Rust Workshop skin checks videos. This one right here, May 20, 2025. You might realise that quite a lot of the skins that are accepted today were actually some early picks, and you could have seen them right here, because all the skins listed here in chapters are collection continuations. I already made mention of the Seeker MP5 in this video. Popstar SAR, it's all there. Right then, so that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Catch you later. Sing goodbye.